Juan is, essentially the same guy, but he's learned, I guess, from Mr. Beast the marketing aspect of it. Because if you see, even if let's say Mr. Beast is sending out $10,000, he will make sure that the amount looks huge. So he'll use single dollar bills, $1 bills, right?
Yeah. Sunny V2 has actually done a great video on the decline of the prank genre in general, right? Like there was a bunch of creators who really became popular because of how shareable these pranks were. And then I think the downfall really came through when they realized that these pranks were actually kind of scripted.
So I remember this, Russian YouTuber who was handing over iPhones. And then after the video, he went, after the person and asked for the iPhone back. And they shot the video and, put it on YouTube as well.
The prank genre can only thrive once the camera is sort of, somewhere else. It's kept away or whatever. The reason why he started Almost Epic is because you possibly can't vlog during a prank, right? That automatically breaks the whole illusion of the prank, which is so important.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Because if you know that, the prank is not happening and it's just a random vlog, you won't enjoy it. Okay, welcome to another episode of Creator Deep Dive. We're back with another episode as we promised you last week. And this week, we'll be speaking about the philanthropic prankster, the Robin Hood of pranks. We're speaking about Juan, or That Was Epic. But before we introduce Juan, I'm going to speak to Shubham. Shubham, how's it going, man?
Absolutely fine, Shri. Always buzzed to have this episode with you.
Yeah, but today's episode, Shubham, is a creator that you have in fact been following for a long time. I discovered him recently because one of his videos went extremely viral, right? Juan, he's the one and only, as I like to call him, because his style is very unique. Of course, it's been copied now, but very unique guy. He does a lot of prank videos, a lot of interesting formats and challenges and whatnot. But I really want to understand from you as to what your introduction to Juan was.
Well, around 2014-15, I guess, I came to this, underbelly of prankster YouTubers. And
The
then, I
underbelly,
discovered him.
I like that. It sounds like a dark alley or something that you're going in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I came across his videos. He was tipping generously, waiters and waitresses. And he was like ordering pizzas for people who are hungry on the streets and all. So, yes, the philanthropy part of his videos drew me in. And then I watched his videos for hours on end. I discovered other creators through him as well, like Steven Shapiro, Amanda Cerny, and all of these people. So that was my introduction to him. Yeah.
Awesome. And when you speak about the prank genre, Shubham, we have to also rewind at, let's say, that time itself, at 2014, 2015, 2016. Sunny V2 has actually done a great video on the decline of the prank genre in general, right? Like there was a bunch of creators who really became popular because of how shareable these pranks were. So the downfall actually came through when they realized that these pranks were actually kind of scripted.
So I remember this, Russian YouTuber who was handing over iPhones. And then after the video, he went, after the person and asked for the iPhone back. And they shot the video and, put it on YouTube as well. So I think that was one of the, things. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think philanthropic pranking almost became a reaction to the mindless pranking that was happening, right? Ultimately, it was just irritating people, right? Like whatever you were doing, they was just like, very off the cuff, very unhinged behavior. But here comes this man, cutting people's headphones, but also offering them AirPods. Doing, probably seeming at first that he's a prankster, but he's actually helping them as well. And of course, you do feel when you're pranked, you're like, your ego almost becomes like, hey, what the hell, how did this happen to me? Like, who do you think you are? And then you get a reward that, hey, you know what, just for laughs, and you also get something because you sort of were a sport and decided to be on camera. So I think for me that is an interesting inflection point, that how the normal pranking genre became a very big cliche. It became very mechanized, and then philanthropic pranking. And of course, we have to speak about MrBeast Shubham as well, because we can't speak about philanthropy and pranking and these challenges and not speak about MrBeast, who's really the flag bearer of not just this genre but YouTube in general. I would say, like, he's pretty much the most popular YouTuber on the planet right now. So that's, I want to discuss that, like, how he became, Juan became, let's say, That Was Epic. He became so popular and whatnot, but not quite. Right, like he didn't really get to the place where MrBeast was. Let's draw those comparisons and parallels, right? Like Like what's the scene? What do you think is are some of the things that it's happening here?
I mean, see, if you ask Charles Darwin, who will become the Mr. Beast of YouTube, he would have said Juan, right? Because he started
Yeah.
handing over money
Mm.
to people. So, I mean, yes, it's pretty strange that Mr. Beast came, barging in, and he just completely blew everyone off the charts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Juan, for one, he's very humble, but he knows that he should have been there, because I was watching one of his recent videos when he
Okay.
where he went back to his old house and paid rent of the occupants. So they said while thanking him, like, "Oh, you're like Mr. Beast. You're doing things like Mr. Beast." So there was like he
Wow.
acknowledged it. He said that I look up to him, but there was kind of a sadness in his voice. Like
Wow.
you could sense that he's
Yeah.
like he
It
should have
could have
been
been
there.
me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it could
yeah,
have been me. Because yeah, I mean, as a person, as a personality, that was epic. Because of course it's popular and whatnot. Like he's a known face. But again, it could have been just very poetic if he would have been the one who sort of started it and who's been in the game for more than, since you've also been watching him for so long. He's obviously been more than Mr. Beast, who was literally a kid till a
yeah.
very till very recently, and arguably is still a
He
kid.
still is.
Right? Like he
Yeah,
still is a kid,
looks
right?
like a
Because
kid.
looks like a kid, right? Like he's an overgrown baby, as we were just discussing. So Juan, on the other hand, is good looking, like conventionally
Yeah,
good looking, good looking male, attractive, and then that's why probably the pranks also sort of figure out to be nice. But I also want to focus, Shubham, on his sort of channel, right? Like let's look at the channel dynamics that he's sort of pulling off, and what he's sort of done with the entire channel, because some things really stand out to me, right? So this includes stuff like his banner, right, is thatwasepic.com and shop now. So clearly merchandise is very important to him, right? Like he wants to
yeah,
sort of build that ki, it's might not, YouTube might not be the only source of revenue. I'm actually getting more money from my merchandising and everything as well. But also he has a vlog channel, right, a secondary and ancillary channel called Almost Epic, right, which was basically it's more off the cuff. It's not as constructed or as well put out as these prank videos are, which he still does, which still rake up a million views in general is quite a healthy number that he does manage to do. So he also has that channel, which is Almost Epic. But his usual videos haven't really changed, Shubham. Like, what do you feel about that? Because
yeah,
we've discussed about how things feel dated and how feels change and whatnot. But if you look at it, his last video, and we're talking about like 6 days ago at the time of recording, is again no thumbnail. Like the thumbnail isn't constructed here, but it's basically a guy and a girl, and the title is "Let me guess you have a boyfriend," which I can easily pick up from 2013 or 14, Shubham, and you
yeah.
wouldn't realize it,
Same.
right? Like
Yep,
it's easily
exactly.
from there. Which is different, by the way, from another video that he's done called "Giving $100 to 100 college students," which is very, very clearly inspired by Mr. Beast, right? Like you have him in this almost like a pose, like as if he's Jesus and people having money. So that is the Mr. Beast
Yeah.
kind. So do you think he's like what's happening with one? Like, is he kind of in the middle? Is he trying out things because he knows that okay, this works, but I also want to be a beast? Like, what's the tone that you're
I
sensing
mean,
from him these days?
his content is the same. He's doing the same thing. Unlike other creators of that time, like Amanda Cerny, who have moved beyond YouTube channel, getting into modeling and doing all sorts of things.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Juan is essentially the same guy. But he's learned, I guess, from Mr. Beast the marketing aspect of it. Because if you
mm,
see, even if let's say Mr. Beast is sending out $10,000, he will make
mm,
sure that the amount looks huge. So he'll use single dollar
yeah,
bills, $1 bills, right?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
have to. I mean, I think he's learning like how scale matters, and also, I
yeah.
mean, it's a it's an example of how people prefer games over pranks. Mr. Beast plays
Mm,
games. This guy does pranks.
interesting.
So there's a clear hierarchy, right? People want to play games, and even if they're not playing, they want to watch people play games. That's why sports, esports, all those
Esports, yeah.
watch alongs
That's
work.
yeah, yeah.
So I think somewhere down the road, Juan missed out, on the bogey of upgrading his, pranks to games. I think,
That's a very
and
interesting
now he
point.
realizes this, and he's sticking to it.
So he's trying to sort of adapt to it that hey, the scale that I can get. Because if you think about it, like Shubham, like he's been in the game for so long. Uh, a million views is something that I'm pretty sure he was achieving even a few years ago. right? So
Yeah.
I think that plateau, right, he's trying these things to sort of break out of the plateau and to sort of like, go into a new territory which is working, right, which the kids love, which, let's say, even the young adults love, or even in general people just love watching those videos, which is the Beast-esque sort of videos that are there. I
Yeah.
don't know, however, how I feel about that, honestly, because uh, again, it might be a bit confusing for the audience. Sure, the content remains the same and he wants to go into challenges, but it requires a bit of nuance, which I have to say that he's not completely changed it, right? It's not that he's completely gone off the Mr. Beast bandwagon, but it'll be a challenge. I will not say that it's easy, but it's a challenge. But interestingly, also the way he sort of demarcates his videos, right? He does a lot of giveaways, which we spoke about, and he's done some original content as well, which is fine, which is also interesting. But one thing which I really really found interesting about him, Shubham, is this segment or this format that he does called using your comments, right? So it's a very simple format. The community tab that's present on YouTube, right, like it's
Yeah.
it's present for, I think, after a certain threshold you can sort of have that, and now I think even that is broken, like people can use their community tabs to sort of engage with the audience. This man has a very interesting sort of call to action where he says that you can comment, I'm going to be making a video next, tell me these things, and he gives like a small preface to that, and you tell me what to do, and I will feature that comment and do that prank in the video. And essentially the
Yeah.
main video that comes out is a compilation of, let's say, the 5 6 or the 10 12, depending on the length of the video, of the most interesting things that you spoke
Yeah.
about. So
Yeah.
there's this one video which got me really rolling on the floor laughing almost, was I think it's titled let me just look at the title. Yes. So one video which really caught my attention, Shubham, in this using your comments playlist or this format, was offering a girl a rose and then eating it. Right. So the thumbnail is also sort of matching with that, which is really funny, right? Like if you just see the video. But here's the thing, that's not the only prank that's happening. Like there are many other comments because he's featuring so many comments. So that is only
Yeah.
one of the things. It's like, okay, you're clicking because of that, but there are many more interesting things happening as well. Like he
Yeah.
goes and he has to pee on the sea beach as well, and then there's some people who are offended. Obviously not being, it's like using like
Yeah.
water or
Pretending.
whatever.
Yeah. Of
But
course.
so things like the, yeah, he's pretending, right? So of course it's a prank. So for me, I think that is a very good way to engage your audience, that hey, you know what, I'm going to be making a video, I'm going to be selecting 10 comments.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah. Of
comment something
course.
crazy, something doable. Like you can't be like, oh, go to Mars. Like that's not possible. Like something which is funny, which is something which is doable. And if my comment gets featured, if my prank gets featured, it's a big high for me as a consumer, as a consumer of
Yeah.
this
Yeah. You
content,
become
as
a
an
true
audience
fan.
member,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
hey, exactly, you become a true fan, that hey, I got acknowledged. So I think one of the rare creators, Shubham, of course, he speaks about his merchandising on his community tab as well, because people just often go to his community tab, so it makes more sense. But one of the rare creators we've covered on Creator Deep Dive who actually really, really milks out his community tab, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise
Yeah,
everybody else is like,
absolutely.
yeah, whatever, it just exists and we'll sort
And
of,
that's
consume.
a
So
that's a really
that to me was interesting.
that's a really good way of making sure that you never run out of ideas,
Yeah,
because a lot of
yeah,
people start taking
exactly.
themselves a lot more seriously, but they should realize that
Yeah,
ideas are very overrated. They can come from any source, right? And when
exactly.
you involve your audience in your
Mm.
ideation stage, then I guess you are creating true fans, and you're giving hopes
Yeah,
to other fans whose comments are not, let's say, selected in one particular video, but they know that if I come across something, if I can give a better idea, maybe in the second, third, or 10th video my idea is getting selected.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think that's how it is, and I think whoever thought of it, probably it was him who thought of the strategy. But whoever's using this community tab, uh, well, I think that kudos to that person who sort of handles this,
Yeah.
because it's a really fun way and a really engaging way of doing it. But now, Shabam, I want to speak about something very interesting, which I'm kind of conflicted about actually, which is about where does Juan go from here in terms of his formats, right? Because I'll tell you what I feel, right? I think the prank genre, what it does is that it creates this wall between the consumer and you, right? You as a creator, because the prank genre can only thrive once the camera is sort of somewhere else, it's kept away or whatever, right? The reason why he started Almost Epic, the reason why he was doing vlogs, is because you possibly can't vlog during a prank, right? That automatically breaks the whole illusion of the prank, which is so
Yeah,
important,
yeah, of
right? Because
course.
if you know that the prank is not happening and it's just a random vlog, you won't enjoy it. The whole purpose is because there's a third, there's a camera person who's about 10 feet apart, who's almost in this documentary style, shooting you, and has this like cinema verite style which is happening. But vlogs, of course, can't allow you to do that. So vlogs, he has a separate channel. But I don't know, like, that prank, that distance is nice. It's interesting. I really like it, and how he sort of conducts
Yeah.
himself, and he has that charm. He sort of exudes that as well. So that's always fun. But I don't know, like, what do you think about like a podcast for him, or another video format for him, like a live that he does? I don't know, like, how do you sort of go from here with the kind of audience that you've created and the kind of bond that you have with them?
I think, I don't think there is a podcast out there that tells people, how to do pranks, right? So
Okay.
if he is starting a podcast, he should not make it about himself. He should, invite other pranksters,
Okay.
talk about the pranks they're doing, talk about the favorite pranks, or
Wow.
react to the pranks, right? Reaction videos, I think he can do.
Mm.
And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's mixing and matching, a lot of content in his videos nowadays. So that's good. He's changing his
Mm.
format.
Yeah.
But I would not mind a podcast by Juan, where he's talking about pranks and how you know he sort of. I would like to know where he's going from him. That's why I want a podcast from
Yeah.
him. He should tell
Correct.
us
Correct.
what
No, I
he's
think,
been up to
yeah.
and what he's going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really want to understand from his psyche as to how he sort of looks at this. And I think the whole, there's merit in this whole thing, that I could have been Mr. Beast, like, like a YouTube video which
Yes.
is more of a narrative storytelling. Of course, you can't do this every time, but just a video which comes through, I think, like, once in a few months, he has a narrative style thing, which will really give a very big flavor to who he is currently, right? Because, okay, he's been doing these pranks for a
Yeah.
long time, but I don't really know who he is. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to know too much, again, because that would
Hmm.
break my illusion. I don't want to sort of humanize him too much, because for me, he is the hero who can cut people's you headphones, and who can give them
Yeah. Yeah.
MacBooks and
Yeah.
whatnot, and who can eat a rose.
And you know what?
But I would be interested in
Yeah.
knowing what he does.
And you know what? Come to think of it, it seems like Juan is, he's like an island, very far away from other creators. He should become, try to, become part of the conversation of the, pop culture. Because right now, I think people are
Correct.
not talking about him. People are just watching his videos. They
True.
like his videos, but they're not talking about him like they talk about Mr. Beast or, other
Absolutely.
creators. I think he should try
Absolutely.
to become a part of the, conversation. That's what I would say.
Yeah, the conversation, the zeitgeist, I think he really needs that strategy, and
Yeah.
that that soft power, the soft culture power, that we speak
Yeah.
about, that, oh, people are consuming your stuff, they like it, but are they really speaking to you? So I think that is very fascinating to me. But please do tell us what you felt about Juan's content. How should he go from here? Should he become a part of the cultural conversation? How do you exactly go about that? How do you navigate that? And also tell us your favorite prank from Juan, because we're always very excited to know what people really like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where we upload these videos, and we'll see you for the next episode of Creator Deep Dive next week. I'm Shrivar.
I'm Shubham.
All right, we'll see you. Bye bye.